CarPlay. What is it? Do we understand it? How do we use it? We're going to give it the full Salty Flyer treatment. It's an idiot's guide to CarPlay written by me, an idiot. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Salty Flyer here, you are there. If you're new, welcome. If you have been coming back, we thank you. We appreciate you coming by. So as I was cruising through the internet forums the other night, looking for a bad financial decision to make for my bike, I noticed a theme popping up with the 24, 25, now 26 touring bike crowd with the Skyline OS, big screen TV, is that CarPlay is still vexing a lot of people. They don't know how to do it, they don't know how to make it work, or they're just having issues with it. So I figured we would do a little bit of a deep dive here on the channel to walk you through how I do CarPlay, the ways you can do CarPlay, and you can get it to work on your bike. We're gonna chapter the hell out of this guy so you can skip ahead to the parts you wanna see, because I recently learned how to do that. So anyway, let's get started. We'll do a basic, what is CarPlay first? So what is CarPlay? All CarPlay is it's literally a function on a vehicle that allows it to connect to your Apple phone. So CarPlay is Apple only, you have to have an iPhone, which allows your vehicle's screen to act as an external monitor and touchscreen control, and your vehicle's audio system to act as a speaker for what's on your phone. And that's it. So what do? Well, when it's connected up, you get a screen that displays varying versions of apps. Not all of them. It prioritizes apps that it thinks are safe to use whilst driving, and many of them have voice command. They want you to be hands-free. They want you to do voice commands to the max extent possible. More on that in a second. So what do you get? Well, you'll get nav, and what it is you get all the nav that's on your phone. So if you want to use Apple Maps, if you want to use Google Maps, if you want to use Waze, if you want to use some other thing maybe I haven't even heard of yet, maybe Bob's super awesome motorcycle navigation tool. If it's on your phone, there's a possibility it's CarPlay compatible. If it does that, you'll get turn-by-turn on the screen, and you'll get audio, turn-by-turn audio commands on the speakers on any vehicle. What else can you do? Music. You can do any native music app you have on there. So your downloaded library, if you still do that on your phone, so your Apple Music library, Spotify, Pandora, you can listen to podcasts, you can do all that kind of good stuff with it. And then you also get some stuff via your texts and voicemails. You can listen to voicemails. You can have your texts read to you. More on that in a second. And you can also compose a text if you're using the voice assistant. So in the case of Apple Siri, you can say, hey, herself, sorry if I triggered your house. I'd like to send a text message to person, and then it'll compose it. You can just say it out loud. She'll read it back to you, and you can do it all hands-free. Kind of neat. And that's kind of it. That's what you get for CarPlay. It's just it's happening in the background, and it uses your phone. So important tip, you need cell service for it to work if you're doing data. So your map won't download, you won't see a map on the screen if you don't have any kind of cell connection. It's using the processor in your phone, and it's using your data plan to run it. Your vehicle is just a screen and a set of speakers for it. That's the important part to understand, okay? So yeah, that's CarPlay. So your next question, Salty, how do I connect it? Well, you have two options to connect to CarPlay, to any vehicle. Well, 99% of vehicles. There's a couple of corner cases that will only do wireless, but wired or wireless. And they're exactly like they sound. So wired, you need to have a connection, a plug, either USB to Lightning or USB-C to USB-C plugged into your vehicle and into your phone. So important tip, phones going way back. The vehicle is usually the limiting factor on whether CarPlay will work. When they started doing it, really became common. I want to say in like 2018 was really when it became very common for vehicles to have CarPlay. Certainly in the 2020s, it's very common for most new vehicles to have that option, unless Apple's having beef with that manufacturer. So it'll go all the way, phone, it'll go all the way back to an iPhone 5. So the current one I believe is an iPhone 17. So you can tell that's going back a ways. Now, whether or not your iPhone 5 will work still, it's not supported, whatever, that's neither here nor there. But it can do CarPlay with a phone going all the way back to that. So wired connection, big deal. On cars, you have to make sure you're plugging it into the correct port. Many new cars will even have the CarPlay symbol, that little weird triangle and a circle symbol. I'll put an image of it on the screen. that tells you that's a data and power charging port, and the data is important for wired connection. I know on my truck, it's a Chevy, it doesn't have the CarPlay logo, but it does have one port on the dash where I've absolutely been successful doing wired CarPlay, and then one port in the center console where it's done nothing but charge the phone. So all you gotta do for that, and we'll talk about how to do it in a minute, we'll do a demo, is plug in, and once you've paired up, CarPlay should work. The other option is wireless CarPlay. So Salty, I hear you ask, if I'm doing this wirelessly, is it Bluetooth or is it Wi-Fi? And unfortunately, the answer is yes, it's both. You need to have both working. The way it works briefly is once the phone is paired with the bike or vehicle, in this case it will be a motorcycle, Bluetooth, it does a little handshake via Bluetooth, it exchanges business cards and security info, and then it uses it to use the vehicle to establish a local Wi-Fi network just with you between your phone and the vehicle, and that's how it exchanges your data. So you need to have both. What are the other than that, they work the same. So what are the advantages or disadvantages of each method? Well, wireless, the advantage is baked into the title. It's wireless, meaning your phone can be in your pocket, in your saddlebag, in your backpack, in your drawer or cubby, depending on your handlebars. That's pretty convenient. That convenience is the main way to do that. If you are using your port on your vehicle to charge something else, charge another phone or some other type of thing, that could be it too. Now, what are the disadvantages? Well, the disadvantages are a couple. One, you're not automatically getting charging. So your phone is not charging. Now, you can potentially have a Wi-Fi, like a wireless charger on a quad lock setup, or you could have a battery pack plugged in, but if you're not finding another means of charging it, you're not getting it charged. Whereas if you do wired CarPlay, it's data and power. So whilst it's exchanging data via that cable, it will also charge your phone. So that's kind of handy to have. The other one that's a little weirder is because it's using Wi-Fi, in most circumstances, to include your bike, you can't do wireless CarPlay and use your phone as a Wi-Fi hotspot. Why do I care about that on a bike? Well, if you are doing, for whatever reason, you want to run CarPlay for music, say, and you want to do Harley Nav on your screen, and you want all those enhancements, you know, the traffic and the weather, you need your phone acting as a Wi-Fi hotspot to pull that data out of cell and send it to the bike. You can't do that because while you can connect to multiple different things, multiple different Bluetooth devices, you can only connect to one Wi-Fi network at a time. So that's a big deal. Another thing you may have noticed if you're using wireless CarPlay on your car or on your motorcycle is that it's a little bit susceptible to RF interference. So it's just all Wi-Fi is a small radio operating on a very specific frequency that's exchanging data over a radio. That's it. And I have noticed that on my drive to work, if I've been doing wireless CarPlay in my truck, there's a certain stretch where it really starts getting intermittent and struggling. And there's a certain red light that if I stop at it, for more than a few seconds, it'll absolutely disconnect and it won't reconnect until I'm out of there. So there's something operating a Wi-Fi network or something that is interfering with it. And without me getting super nerdy, just to say that is a thing that wireless is more susceptible to. And on your bike, you have less of a big shield around your little private Wi-Fi network to protect it because you're out in the open. So even more so is there a chance that you're going to have that interference. So just something to think about with the wireless and the wired connection. Okay? So we've established that you can connect wirelessly, and we've established that you can connect wired. So what is the next thing you want to do? Well, you're going to say, hey, Salty, how do I connect it to my bike? Well, it's a motorcycle, so it's a little more, it's got one extra step. And this is a step that's required regardless of whether you connect wired or whether you connect wirelessly. So remember I had said earlier that you needed, it favored voice-activated, hands-free stuff. It doesn't just favor it, it requires it. So most cars have the little button on your steering wheel that will allow you to speak into the air and do all the voice commands for your car. Apple has considered that to be sufficient. You need a microphone to do hands-free commands for CarPlay to work. So if you sit there and say, hey, it's not working on my bike, Harley sucks, that's not a Harley thing, that's an Apple thing. They don't trust you to push buttons on a screen, even though, ironically, CarPlay allows you to push buttons on a screen. So you need to have a microphone or some kind of hands-free capability on the bike for CarPlay to work. So how do we do that? Well, you can use Bluetooth earbuds and pair them to the bike. It has to be paired to the bike. That's an important tip. Anything you're doing, you have to pair it to the bike via Bluetooth, not via your phone, because the bike won't recognize it as a thing that it can use for hands-free, if that makes sense. So wireless earbuds, that's how I got CarPlay to work when I rode home from the dealership. I had some AirPods in. They will work. Jabras will work. Beats will work. I mean, hell, if you're in a no helmet law state and you want to put on big old over-the-ear muffs, you look stupid, but those will work. Essentially, it has any earbuds that you could take a phone call on and just talk out loud and have it talk and pick up your phone call will work, because it will act as a microphone, a headset, if you will. The other option that a lot of people do is a Cardo or one of those wireless communicators. Those will absolutely work. Same exact thing. They work exactly the same as regular old earbuds. That's basically what they are with extra steps. And they also have their little near field Bluetooth where you can talk to your passenger via like an intercom system or other riders in your group. But regardless of that, the fact that you can hit a button and talk and it has a microphone in there is why it allows it to do that. You just have to make sure that it's the rider, it's set up as the rider's headset. And we'll walk through that when we set the other way up. The final way, and the way I do, is kind of what they call a fooler. So what is that? It's something you plug into the bike somewhere that you connect to this thing via Bluetooth, and it tells the bike, I'm a headset, and therefore you can connect. I use a thing called a Madehawk. We'll show you a picture of it in a second here. It's a little nubbin that plugs into your cord, and that allows, you can connect to that wirelessly, and then it says, hey, I got a headset here. I do it via the drawer. We'll show you that in a minute when we do our how to set it up thing. That the drawer, it plugs into the cable there, good to go. A lot of people do that. Or there's options under the seat. Under the seat, you have accessory power, so the kind of multi-pin connectors that you want to connect into if you're going to run external speakers or you're going to run like a compressor for an air ride. That power takeoff is there. There are setups that they sell, and we'll put links in the description for all these different things that you can plug into that, and then the same deal. Just it'll live under your seat, and you can connect to it Bluetooth. You can even use there are ones now that little barrel connections that they have underneath the seat here for your heated gear connections. You can use that to power it. All good. Now, if you want to use both of your heated gear connections and you have something else plugged into that power cord and you don't necessarily want to get one of those weird splitters and run, then just do something underneath with the cable, either in your slide out drawer on the street glides or in your cubby on the road glides. So that will allow you to then connect. So remember I said it will read you your text? That's the part that gets a little sketchy. For some reason, weirdly enough, even if you set the audio output to speakers and you're jamming to your tunes and you get a bing, text message pops up, hey, the wife wants to tell you something. Normally in your car, you hit that, boop, and it says, the wife said, you should stop at the store to pick up bread. It'll read you your text message. In this case, if you do that, it'll mute your music and you'll just get however long it takes to read of silence, because for whatever reason, the way CarPlay works on the Harley, it automatically sends it only to the headset. In this case, the headset is a Madehawk that's about the size of my thumbnail inside the drawer, and it doesn't have a speaker, so I can't hear it. So that's a downside to that. That's a little annoying with CarPlay, but hey, you know what? I mean, in the scheme of things, it isn't bad. Okay, so that's where we're at. Next step, I'm going to do something that I am loath to do, but I do it for the love of the game and for y'all. Remember that. When you have the chance to hit the subscribe button, just think about that. I'm gonna take a second, I'm gonna de-pair everything from my bike. So I'm gonna nuke my phone, and I'm gonna nuke the bike, and I'm gonna start over, new day, and I'm gonna walk you through how you can set up your wireless your CarPlay to run on your bike. So I've done the thing, and I've nuked the bike out of my phone and out of existence on the, everything's disconnected. So new day, hey, I just drove home to the dealership and I wanna do this, and we'll walk through it. So you'll note, I'm in accessory mode. So I went right here, remember long press and hold your trip button to go into accessory mode. That way you're not running your fuel pump and everything else. And I'm connected to a battery tender so we don't burn up the battery. So first things first, I'll show you my setup. Okay, so the thing you have here in the drawer, you can see there's your cable. It's a female end. Don't think of it as a cable so much as think of it as the plug port on your car, right? That's what it is. So this in my hand here, This is the Maidhawk bypass. So that's the whole shoot and match right there is that little guy. So it's a pass-through, so you can tell that if I plug it in, you gotta remember, if you do it the right way, it will act as a charging pass-through, and it's a one-way pipe, as well as a Bluetooth fooler device. But you'll note, if I plug it in, I still have a female end there. So how do I connect it to my phone? Well, I'm gonna plug it in here. What I do, typically, so it's plugged in there. What I do typically is then I carry this around. Is it a lot? Yeah, it's a good quality USB-C cord. Why do I carry that much cord? You can get a little dongle that's an inch long, and it'll probably fit better, because then I always have a cord. I take my bike in the good weather, I go on some work trips, local kind of business stuff where I'm kind of all over the state. I like to have this with me just in case I forget a cord. I can unplug it from the bike, take it into the hotel, or take it with me, and I can charge my phone up and do whatever. So if you'll note, what we're gonna do is just plug this guy in here. So the first step is now we need to get this guy connected as a headset. So we're gonna go menu. That's grayed out because obviously we don't have that. So then we're gonna go to your gear. And the first thing you're gonna see is device manager. So we're gonna click into that, and it's got the Bluetooth symbol next to it. Even I can figure that out. So you're gonna say add new device. Searching. Okay, it found my TV in my living room, and it found Maidhawk bypass, and it says it's a headset, so that's what we want. So it's pairing. Pairing. Okay, it's connected. Biggest thing you want to check now, on their connected devices, you tap it, it's going to say change role. So we're just going to take a look at that real quick, make sure it's the correct role, and it's listed as the rider. So that's what you want, because otherwise it won't work. All right, easy day. Now, the next step for CarPlay, if you want to do, we're going to do this one wirelessly to start with, because it'll do it the same if you plug it in, but if you set it up wirelessly, it'll work wirelessly, and then if you plug it in, it'll also work plugged in, and we'll talk about that in a second. So we're going to do another thing, add new device. And it's searching. So now I'm going to put my phone on, and we'll get that going. So 1 second, let me get that set up. So I'm recording my phone right now, so I'm going to open up my Bluetooth settings, and I'm going to search for a new bike. So I'm going to hit refresh. Okay, turn Bluetooth on my phone, and it's going to look for my phone, and we'll see if we can find it. There's my there you can see Jim's iPhone, so we're going to hit connect. And then we're going to look on my phone and see if it appears there as a device we want to connect to. Yep. Pairing code on the phone, pairing code on the bike, we're going to pair, and we're going to hit accept on the bike. So now the two of them are doing things, and all of the magic is happening. And now if you see on the phone as we're recording, it's saying enable CarPlay, yes. Connect to CarPlay, yes. Welcome to CarPlay. Welcome to CarPlay. There you go, continue. And there you have it. Just that easy, it is now connected, and it's stored in your list of CarPlay devices, that. And it's in there. Pretty friggin' sweet, yeah? Now, we'll go a quick run through. If you want to connect it wirelessly, or wired, here's a trick. This is a tip I learned, that sometimes the bikes and a lot of vehicles really want to do wireless. They're biased towards that. So if, like, say you plug it in, it should switch over, but it may not. So a trick to do to make sure you're wirelessly wired connection is you can go plug your phone in, thusly. Plug the phone in, and then turn off your Wi-Fi. Use your little control panel thing, turn off your Wi-Fi, and it should connect up. Now you may say, hey, Cook, start Apple CarPlay, which, by the way, that is a thing you can do, and there it did it. Now, I know that that's a wired connection. Now, if I want to do my hotspot or everything else, then I can go turn my Wi-Fi back on. So let's take a look real quick at what we got. So this is it. This is basically your setup for what you're going to see on the screen. It's touchscreen, so you can slide around, as well as you can use this guy here as sort of a mouse key, and you can see it's highlighting through there. So that doesn't actually launch the Harley Davidson app. That just takes you, if you hit that, that takes you out of CarPlay back to wherever you were underneath. So in this case, we can go out of the menu and go right to the top level there. Now you'll see CarPlay, not navigation. Fat fingers are a problem. Now you can see that is enabled, it's white, so if I tap it, it's gonna take me back to CarPlay. So you have a couple of different setups. You can swipe into this mode, which I really like. This is kind of how I drive around a lot of times now in my car and even on the bike. It's got nav, and then if you got your music controls here, and then sometimes if you have a reminder, like a calendar event or something, it'll pop up, it'll put it into a third there. It's got the things that you go to a lot, so homework, my kid's school, things like that that are able to be connected to. If you keep swiping, you can get into this widget mode, which is telling me the weather in my town, which is, it's almost July. But that's the weather right now, and you can do different things. You can see different stuff, what's playing, a giant calendar, whatever. Or you can go back into your thing as well. If you go into a thing like, say, music, I'm gonna try to not get copyrighted here. You can see the music screen. Something tells me I'm not gonna get copyrighted for a little bit of classical music, but you know. Yeah, occasionally I listen to classical music. I'm a classy bitch like that, you know? Sometimes it helps the brain think when you're doing stuff. But you can see what's playing by hitting that little button right there, and that'll tell you what is playing. Or you can come back out to that, or you can come back out one more time, and you can just see that's Teams. My work uses Microsoft Teams, so somebody after hours, weirdly enough, is chatting on Teams. Okay. Now, if I tap that, I'm not going to get anything. But if a text message were to pop up right there like that one did, you would then subsequently be able to tap that. And that's the problem. Now, people in the Cardo sphere or Bluetooth headsets, it will work with a headset. So if you're doing that, you can listen to your music through your headset, not your speakers, and then your text messages will play if you tap that. It's just a weird hiccup if you're using the Madehawk. So if you're using a Bluetooth headset or you're using a Cardo, you will absolutely be able to hear your music. So we talk about hearing music. One last setting I'll leave you with to show you how CarPlay can be set up is, let's go back out to the menu here. So if you want to listen to your music, go to sound, and you're gonna see audio routing right there. That is important because that can tell you right here, you can see that music and media, you can go headset or speakers, prompts headset or speakers. So pro tip, if you're connected via Madehawk or other Fooler and you hit play and everything is working, but you're not hearing any music, go check that setting. There's a good chance that the music is set to be routed to your headset. So it's being routed to that little nubbin you plugged in that doesn't actually have any speakers on it, and that's why you can't hear it. If you do have a headset, and say you have a Cardo, but you want to blast your stereo, you can do that. If you want to have your nav prompts go just to your headset, and then your music come out your speakers, you can do that here. You can set all those things up that way. So what other troubleshooting tips do we have? No music comes out. Check the routing. We just showed you how to do that. It doesn't connect. Couple things, we showed you how to do it. Check to make sure that your headset is the rider headset. If you advertently set it up to be your passenger, that's not gonna work. Other things you can have, hey, it won't connect at all. This happens to me occasionally, even if I'm doing Wi-Fi, or wireless connection. Normally, 99% of the time, it's automatic, but sometimes it doesn't. So one of the things you can do is go in here, hit menu, go to your device settings, go to your device manager, and double check. Make sure that the things are not on the paired device list. That just means it's in the memory, it's looking for them, but it's not connected. You want to see it here in the connected device list. And if you see, you should see next to that rider. So it's hard to tell there, but the person on the left is highlighted. That means it's rider. That it's got full charge because it's plugged into power on the bike. And it's acting as a headset. And then you can see if you're connected by your phone, you'll see the little CarPlay symbol there. If not, tap it and you'll see, if you're not connected there, you should see Start CarPlay. And if you do that, it'll re-trick it to start running CarPlay. Okay? So that is how you pair up to your device. So there you have it, folks. That's the comprehensive Uncle Salty Flyer guide to connecting to CarPlay. We talked a little bit about some troubleshooting steps, and we didn't cover them all because I'm trying to fiddle with my phone and the GoPro, so not the best camera work. But always two things. I know it sounds annoying and I sound like the corporate guy, but definitely make sure that your phone is updated to the latest iOS and make sure the bike's updated. A lot of times they push, the iOS is how, remember, your phone controls CarPlay. The bike should be fine regardless. It's just set up to do it, but the CarPlay is controlled by your phone, so the more up-to-date your phone is, the more likely you are to have success with that. Another thing to think about just from an electronics perspective is if things are getting wonky and your phone's just not really working, try power cycling it. I know it sounds dopey, but your phone is a computer. Your phone's got more computer power than probably the computer I used in college, certainly by a fair bit. And it's always, always on. And even if it goes like blank screen, it goes into like a sleep mode or whatever else. Lots of stuff builds up in the memory and everything else. Sometimes you just need to shut that thing all the way off and start it all the way back up. It clears out caches. It kind of makes force restarts a bunch of things. I have found that that solves a lot of connectivity problems that I've had in my life, has been just to restart my phone. Same with your computer, by the way, your desktop or laptop, whatever, they go into a sleep mode. They don't go into off mode. So sometimes you should do that. Just pro tech tip from your tech boy here, because I'm secretly a tech boy. Shut up. Sorry. All of this connectivity sometimes is really distracting. So there you have it. CarPlay. I like it. I like it because it's the same on my truck. It's the same on my phone, on my bike. It's the same on a rental car if I'm on a work trip. It just is. So those are your connection tips. Remember, you need to have some kind of headset. So Cardo, Bluetooth earbuds, or a Fooler. I use the Madehawk. I'll put a link to a bunch of different kind of Foolers in the description. Once you're there, wired or wireless, you're good to go either way. And then you can run everything off your phone from your screen there. So thanks for sticking around. I hope this helps. I just see a lot of confusion in the forums, and I thought I would try to do my normal nerdy deep dive on it because I'm kind of into doing those kind of things to help everybody out in the community so everyone can go CarPlay to their heart's content. I mean, you spend a lot of money on your phone, you may as well want to use all that entertainment stuff on there, and you got plenty of money on your entertainment space there. So if you like the video, please give us a thumbs up and a like. That absolutely, absolutely helps the algorithm. Please subscribe if you really like it. That'll let you know that we're putting out new content and you get to see all the different things. We're knocking on the door of 1,000 subscribers. We're getting close. That would be awesome. I might even try to do like a live stream or something. You can watch me drink whiskey and ramble on about this, that, and the other. Who the hell knows? The world is our oyster when we hit 1,000 there. And if you want to ever hit me up with a super thanks, please do. That just buys me a coffee or beverage of your choice. You don't have to. Remember, we do this for the love of the game around these parts. And also, if there's any products linked, if you see something we're talking about, I'm going to try to link to some of the products we talked about today. If you click the thing and you buy it through there, costs you nothing. I get to wet my beak a little bit, helps keep the lights on here at Salty Flyer headquarters. But until next time, guys, thanks for sticking around. Really appreciate y'all. Be safe. Take care of each other. Salty Flyer. Peace.